my theory about Twitter? People are confused about Twitter because they're following other confused people. But how many of you in here use YouTube for how-to videos? Anybody? If your best friend is going into labor in the back of your car, you can pull over the car. Notice I did say pull over first. Go onto your phone on YouTube, and there is a British guy that will tell you how to get that baby out, right? No matter what it is you want to learn how to do, there's a British guy that will tell you how to do it. So if you want to talk about how you can make your LinkedIn profile very powerful without you spending a lot of time on LinkedIn, take about 5 minutes someday, hopefully tomorrow, the next day, to jot down the different words you want to pop up for. But if those words are not in your profile on LinkedIn, you can't pop up for it. So if my profile talks about how I'm a social media consultant but never uses the word speaker, if someone types in social media speaker, I will never pop up in search. The key to being successful on Facebook and getting something to spread virally is hitting emotional nerves. Once upon a time with Facebook, all you could do was look up people by name. You could look up an organization by name or something along those lines. Now you can do relational searches. Friends of friends who work for this company, people who live in this area and like this page. So for instance, people who like Henry Schein Dental and live in Orlando, Florida. So if you want to go to a particular area and see, maybe some of the people that are using some of your competitors, you can put in this information. What's even more interesting is if they put their job position, you can see if they're the office manager or whatever position they're in. And what's even better is if you're already using Facebook, it'll show you if you have any friends in common so that you can get that introduction. Does that make sense? How many people find this useful? How many people find it insane that Facebook didn't tell anybody about this? News breaks first on Twitter. The culture of Twitter, it's all about real-time information and adding value. If you want to know a practical way to use Twitter, look at all the news networks, all the industry magazines that you read, follow those on Twitter. You can actually get one stream of all your news in one place. Imagine you're in Oklahoma and there's a tornado coming down, because you have to admit that's what happens with y'all a lot, right? So there's a tornado coming. I guarantee you, as that tornado's coming, there's someone who's running away from the tornado that as they're running, somehow they still find time. But my point is this, news breaks first there. Whether it's a PR crisis for your organization or even more importantly, for a competitor where you can take advantage of something that's going wrong with them at that point in time, there's something newsworthy in your industry, anything along those lines, it breaks first on Twitter. We saw in the video that YouTube is the second largest search engine. It's owned by the first largest, which is Google, right? It's 50 times easier to get a video to place on the first page of Google than any text in a website. Now, how many of you in here are on Instagram? Raise your hand high. How many of you are like, I just do not understand why these young folks are posting pictures of all their food? Anybody? Instagram is a picture-based sharing social network that really appeals to people between the ages of about 25 to 35. So if you have any target clients that are in that age range, posting pictures, and again, of those installs, things like that, not of your cat, not of your baby, those types of things can actually add value. And Pinterest works the same way. It's a picture-based social network as well. The age range trends a little bit older on it, but the one thing that's important for you to remember about Google Plus is that it's owned by Google. And so when you post things onto your Google Plus profile, let's say that you've written an article for a publication or something that you want to share, just posting it there, even if you're not connected to too many other people on Google Plus, can actually help with your rankings. If you have all these cards, those cards are not doing you any good. You typically don't keep up with these people. How many of us have ever connected with someone who's a good connection? Maybe they're not a good connection in the moment, does that make sense? But you should follow up with them in a few months. You forget, you come across their card a year later and you're like, man, that would be a great lead for right now. But now they don't know who I am. What you want to do is, if you're Apple, you use a free app called Munch. And it'll allow you to scan the cards in the moment, and it'll immediately send them connection requests into LinkedIn. So that way, you can just do it on the moment. If you use Android, you're going to use something called Google Goggles to do the same thing, okay? If you're BlackBerry, you should get an Android or Apple. Okay, the point of all of this is when you're using social media, you want to turn people from contacts into friends, okay? When you're connected to someone on LinkedIn, they're called a contact. When you're connected to someone on Facebook, they're called a friend. And there's a reason for that, because if you've ever connected with someone first on Facebook and then met them in real life afterward, they act like they're really your friend. They will hug you, they will tell you, who's had that? I'm seeing some nods, right?